Hi, I'm Gemma Montgomery and welcome to the Excel with Ease podcast, bringing together service-based business owners in the aesthetic, beauty, medical health and wellness sector. Here we discuss different topics that will help you grow your business with ease while supporting your ultimate life vision. Hi there, welcome to the final podcast episode of 2025. Gosh, what a year. I don't know how it's been for you, but for me, there's definitely been some high moments and definitely some low moments. And I think this time of year is natural, isn't it, to kind of take stock. A little bit of spaciousness comes when you've got that lull between Christmas and New Year. So I think it's only natural to sit back and just kind of take stock of everything in business and in life so we can think about how we want to move forward into 2026. So I'm out on the moors again. It's really early actually. It's just literally become daylight. So I've been up since 5 this morning, managed to get quite a few things done. And I thought, right, time to get out, get Mabel out for a walk. So if you can hear the pheasants, she's chasing them. I will try and just keep a little bit of distance back from her so it's not too disturbing. So this week, I thought I would round off the year with my personal predictions for 2026 within the aesthetic arena. You know, I've been in this business now a long time, 16 years. I've seen trends come, I've seen trends go, and I've seen treatments make a complete resurgence. And I think that just shows the power that marketing has and the power of social media. So, you know, let's take, for instance, a treatment like microneedling. I first trained in microneedling back in 2010. And back then, we did treatments with like a good old-fashioned manual roller. It does look quite graphic now, actually, when you look at the differences compared with the modern kind of up-to-date pens. But you know, microneedling is pretty gold standard for collagen production, helping remodel scarring. You know, it's been around a hell of a long time, and the results, they speak for themselves. The treatment's been around such a long time. But for years, microneedling, it went a little bit dormant. I know in my clinic, it definitely was on the quieter front for many years. And I would say it's just been this last maybe 2 years that it's made a real kind of comeback. And, you know, I used to scratch my head thinking, what's going on? You know, it's been around a long time. This isn't anything new. But I think it's just the power of social media, the power of trends, the power of platforms like TikTok. So my predictions for 2026. Number one, I'm going to have to say membership demand. So introducing a membership into my own personal clinic is probably for me one of the best things I've ever done. My only regret is that it took me the best part of 16 years to do it. Now, I did actually introduce it a couple of years before, but it was an overwhelming time. I kind of probably thought it would be more to implement than what it was in terms of time and resources. But I had people asking for them for a long time, and I just didn't have the headspace to get my head around how would it work, what treatments would I do it on. And then in January, I thought, right, come on, let's just do this. Let's just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? Honestly, as I've said, it's just the best thing I've ever done for nervous system regulation, for the ability to plan, just have more structure. And results for clients, really. Clients love it. Don't get me wrong, not everybody wants to be on a membership. Sometimes it's just not for them. But for those that need structure, that need accountability, that like things planned out, that like to know that no matter what, they can afford the treatments, then it's pretty much a no-brainer, really. And the way I kind of look at it now is, you've always got that little bit of a concern as the 12-month term comes to an end. Are they going to sign up again? Are they going to completely drop off? Is there something else that they're going to move on to package-wise? So I'm in that process at the moment, actually. My first cohort from January 25 due to renew, but I'm also obviously launching again because it's January. So I've got both things going on. I've got a launch, but I've also got a transition where my first cohort are due to either re-sign, opt out, or pick up another package. That's going to be interesting, but again, more insights that I can pass on to people. So this year I launched in January 24 and then relaunched in June 25. So I purposefully decided to only have 2 launches a year. And this was quite strategic, really. There was a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was that I wanted to encourage as many people onto the membership as I possibly could. And if I were to leave the doors to membership constantly open, they could sign up at any time. It's human nature to procrastinate. We all do it. It's just, if we know something's always there, well, there's always going to be another day, another time to do it. And it's always going to be something that you can put on the back burner. Now, if you don't give people that ability, you have a clear cut-off date, it actually helps them because it helps move them out of that procrastination phase and into action that they were only going to take anyway. You've just helped them to do that a little bit sooner. Also, twice a year helps you to manage it, launching it, getting people on in the back end, making sure everything's running smoothly. If you were trying to manage that as well as managing a busy clinic, if you were to have it constantly open, you just don't know where you're at. Whereas now, for me, it's easy to say, are you a January 25 cohort? Are you a June 25 cohort? And it's just so much easier to keep track. Who's coming on, who's come on when, and when their 12-month is due to expire. So you can start sending emails to give them options to either renew, opt out, or move on to another package. So I know I'm saying the same old things again, but for me, taking the plunge and doing that was just the best thing ever for planning, to be able to know what's coming in at one set time of the month and to just really regulate my nervous system, which has been so up and down for 16 years. And I do think that's probably the hardest part of being self-employed, whether you're a one-man band or you've got a couple of team members or you've got a full-on team, different locations. No matter what size you are, and that doesn't matter, it's what your definition of success is and what your own unique goals are. I still think there's always an element of that up and down hypervigilance when you're ultimately responsible for your own income and for the income of others. So to have something that's a little bit set, it's just a no-brainer. So the feedback I had from all my clients, even though obviously a big one was they love the 12 affordable monthly payments, they were just constantly saying to me, Gemma, I love the consistency, I love the accountability. If something goes wrong, like my car tyres all need doing all of a sudden, or another unexpected bill comes in, it's fine. My skin is already taken care of because that's just another monthly subscription that I don't have to really think about. It's just done, it's dusted. And another great thing was because they had their monthly payment for the standard things that they like to have on a membership, I would find that they cross over and have other things in and amongst, which also obviously added to the results that they were seeing and added to extra unexpected revenue coming in the clinic as well. So the demand is definitely there for memberships. And I would advise, if you've not got a membership option in your clinic, to really think about getting one going this year if you can. That demand that's going to be out there. So I will do a separate podcast actually on memberships, but just to finish off on that topic now, I was asked a question yesterday on TikTok. Somebody had decided she wanted to do a membership, but she was just overwhelmed with how to host it. So mine's a little bit more tricky in that I have a plugin actually on my website that takes care of all the membership payments and subscriptions and things for me, can keep track of things really easily. But to have that, you ideally need a website that's e-commerce. So if you have that, then obviously the one that I use is called Seal Subscriptions. But if you don't have a website that's really geared and set up and integrated for e-commerce, then a really simple way to get going is just via Stripe. If you have a CRM system for your clinic that holds all your records and things like that, sends out all your communications, then a lot of the CRM systems are now bringing on that capability to run a membership option as well for clients. I use Forest within the clinic. They've recently brought on a membership option too, which I will have a look at this year just to compare. But just dig around on the CRM system that you've got, maybe speak to them, see if it's something that they're going to be introducing, a membership functionality. Stripe is a really good starting point to go with if you just want to get going and your CRM system doesn't have that. And if your website is set up for e-commerce, then I use Seal subscriptions. So a little bit longer than I thought on point one prediction, but memberships are definitely the way forward. And prediction number 2 for 2026 is that I predict there's going to be a real need for skin tightening procedures of the body. Now, I'm at that age. I'm in my 40s. A lot of my friends are in the 40s, friends in the 50s, upwards. But as women, we get that hormonal change and we start to see subtle changes within the skin on our body. You're used to seeing your skin a certain way for all these years, and then you start seeing changes. It's like, oh my gosh, what is that? And I guess a lot of it does, boil down to kind of acceptance as well. We are aging and we should embrace that and the beauty that, that comes with it. But there are just certain things out there, if we're all honest, that we think, if we can do something about it, then let's just do it. What a lot of my ladies report, and obviously what I see myself in my own body, subtle changes, is that inner upper arm skin going into the tricep area can become a little bit lax on that inner upper arm. And it's great to catch it when you first start to see those changes rather than wait till they get to a point where it's like, oh my God, it's just too far gone. How much am I going to need to get the job done? Ladies notice with menopause as well changes to the tautness of the tummy, the skin in the abdomen and the upper thighs. And I think even more so now as well with the rise in weight loss injections like Ozempic and Mounjaro, people are going through rapid weight loss. And whilst they might feel healthy, look healthy and getting to the target weights, it comes at a little bit of a price where we can be left with a little bit of loose skin. Injections like Mounjaro suppress the appetite. So what we can find in a lot of people is that they're not really having enough protein intake, and calories really. And it's so important as we get older as women that we do really keep that protein intake up, that we remember to do resistance training as well, not just focus on just hammering the cardio. The consequence of that can be the deflation in the skin. So I know this is a big one for a lot of people that have been on weight loss injections. So I do think we're going to see a huge rise in people looking for treatments that will help tighten and stimulate the skin in this area. Now, I have played around actually with clients and myself actually with polynucleotides, and I have seen some great results. The only problem is you need a lot of product to actually get the results that you're looking for. So Clinest, the brand that I use, do have bigger syringes for the body, but the concentration just isn't as strong. It's just a lot more diluted. And then we've got radio frequency, microneedling, things like that. But when we're looking at the body, we just need things that are on a little bit of a bigger scale to cover more surface area. So this is something I'm personally going to look into this year in my clinic. So I shall let you know if I find something that I think is going to be great. What I don't want to do is take on something that's very expensive for clients and delivers all these promises, but is very short-lived. So yeah, I shall let you know, but I do predict a rise in demand from the consumer for skin tightening procedures, just help with lax skin on the body. Prediction number 3 is I believe that there's going to be a demand for more advanced lower face Botox procedures, particularly the neck. Now, I know as practitioners, this treatment has always been there. It's something that we've always done. Neck has been going for a long time. But I think what's really helped this take off again at the moment is the power of social media platforms, and also the brand Botox now recently having FDA clearance for use of Botox in that particular area of the neck. If you've been doing Botox for a long time, you've probably been doing the platysmal bands for a long time and things like that. Allergan, since getting FDA approval, have released their injection pattern guide. And I think as practitioners, we always have that bit of sense of relief, don't we? It's actually properly cleared for this area. And again, I'm not sure what age you are listening to this podcast, but I know certainly my age group, they are starting to notice differences in the tightness in the jaw and the beginnings of the platysmal bands that can appear. All these subtle changes, I think people are thinking, well, if I can catch it now and just do something, then why not? So prediction number 4 is, I believe there's also going to be an increase in an inside-out approach. So we only have to look now at the mass use of collagen powders, beauty supplements, IM injections, B12, glutathione, the use of NAD, all that kind of stuff. People are beginning to cotton on, thank God, and understand that it's not just an outside approach, it's an inside meets outside approach to slow down aging and optimize what we've got overall. Now, I do think as health educators, we have to have the knowledge and be able to educate people on nutrition. It's not just a case of go get that IV or go have that IM injection. The real good stuff comes from infusing our body with the right nutrients, and that will always ultimately start with nutrition. And energy, massive believer in energy. I talk about it all the time. You can be drinking all the green juices, eating all the right things, fruit, vegetables, enough protein, good fat. But if your energy is off and you're constantly stressed, you're constantly worried, you're constantly drained, no amount of nutrition is going to override how your energy is. But people are cottoning on to that. It's not just about fixing the outside and tweaking this and tweaking that. Good, strong, healthy, vibrant skin starts on the inside. It starts with our energy, and it starts with how we take care of ourselves with nutrition, how we move our body. And then the other things, the supplements can just be a nice little add-on just to get peak results. But I definitely don't see that slowing down anytime soon. And again, places like TikTok are only enhancing this even further. And there we move to prediction number 5. So I see that the demand for regenerative procedures such as polynucleotides, microneedling and exosomes, whatever else decides to come on the market, will only add to the demand of clients. And I think why this is aesthetics over the years has got a pretty bad rap, really. I mean, even me personally, when people would say to me, "Oh, Gemma, what do you do?" I'd be like, "Don't tell them. They're going to think I'm that sort of person that gives this kind of result, that believes in changing people, that are already unhappy in their own skin." And my work was never about that. I've never been about that. For me, it's always been about optimization of self. So it's how can we hold on to what we've got for as long as we can. Just like your body, when you're exercising, how can it be strong? How can it be flexible? How can it move freely? For as long as it can. How can we just keep living vibrantly and healthily? And it's the same with the face. I like to treat people who love how they look. They love themselves so much that they just want to hold on to what they've got for as long as they can. And even if subtle changes are happening, they still want to feel great at every age, the best that they can, and just slow down the effects of time. It's about looking healthy, feeling vibrant. So that was always my take on the world of aesthetics, coming at it from like an aging prevention angle. It was never about, oh my gosh, okay, you don't like the shape of your face, let's change the shape of your face, let's give you something that you've never had. It was a completely different slant for me. But when someone briefly asks you, what do you now do as a nurse, it was a little bit like, oh, because I just felt judged. And that was something that I've had to drop over the years. I'm so much better at that now. And when I dropped that fear of perception and what other people thought, things really skyrocketed for me in my business. And I think that was part of it. I was kind of hiding a little bit and fearing being judged. So I've gone around the houses really in a long way of saying that I think the same applies to people that wanted to seek out help for aging concerns, but people were so fearful of going somewhere because they just didn't want that awful, trashy, overdone, strange kind of alien face look, is to put it bluntly. So people were so fearful. So obviously, there's some great practitioners out there and practitioners that are of my belief system that practice exactly the same way. The people that I've brought through the academy are all of the same mindset. But the regenerative side of things kind of takes that fear away for people who just want to dip the toe into the aesthetic arena. So when someone comes for a consultation, if you explain that medical microneedling, polynucleotides, exosomes, skin tightening, skin boosting, all those kind of procedures run no risk of making you look overdone. It's not going to change the way you look. All it's going to do is just enhance what you've got naturally, because essentially it's your own skin that's doing the job with a little nudge and a little help. And you can see when people know that there's no fear, like of looking overdone like they might be with Botox if it's done badly, or dermal fillers if it's done badly, you can see they just drop the shoulders and they relax. So it's a really good way to help people slow down the effects of aging without the fear of looking unlike themselves. And like I say, luckily, I pretty much see the trend changing now. People are moving away from the big overdone lips, the huge cheeks, and people are embracing who they are a little bit more and going more towards the natural side and just getting really great, good looking, healthy skin and really slowing the effects of time down. So it'll be interesting to see what new regeneration procedures come onto the market this year. But if one comes and it looks promising, then grab it with both hands, because I don't think that these kind of procedures are going anywhere. They're only going to increase. And I do think obviously there's still dermal filler going to have its place, but it's going to be about doing it very delicately, very lightly, very natural, which is the way it should be. And exactly the same with Botox. People are coming around to their way of thinking now that it's okay to have some movement. It's not about the movement. It's about just making the skin just look a bit more refreshed and a little bit rested. Let me just add one more on before we go. I also feel as well, this is only really quickly, that you're going to see a huge surge in prescription type skincare as well, particularly with the tretinoins. Again, tretinoins have been around for such a long time, but I can see them doing the trends on media platforms like TikTok, people asking questions, people asking how they get hold of tretinoin. So we all know tretinoin's a prescription medication. It's the highest derivative of vitamin A that there is. So if you are a prescriber, then there might be a little bit of an opportunity there for you as well with regard to prescribing more prescription-based skincare. But definitely the use of tretinoin is increasing. So I am going to go now. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my walk. So have a lovely New Year's Eve, and I hope that 2026 brings you lots of love, health, happiness and good fortune, and I'll catch up with you in the new year. You take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you discovered some useful tips and takeaways. Don't forget to please rate, review and subscribe, and as always, pass on to a friend who you think will find this podcast super useful.